I have made videos about these topics in separate videos, albeit without a voice cover in the past. Since I'm doing a video voiceover dubbing project on previous lost media topics I have covered before, I decided to lump these two topics together because they're very similar in nature, plus a new topic as well. I call this the Tale of Lost Consoles. Before we go any further, I can see you. I can see that you're not subscribed. It would be lovely if you please subscribe to my channel. It helps me be able to make the videos that I can make, and it'll help me be able to be monetized. So please subscribe. The Thousand Land Special Edition Rare Xbox Console. In recent times, I've been feeling quite nostalgic for the OG Xbox, going back and getting games I once had for the system in my childhood and exploring more of its library of games. I discovered this rare special edition OG Xbox styled after the rare Japanese exclusive game Thousand Land. Thousand Land was a battle map creation simulation game developed by From Software. Yes, the people who made the Souls games. The game itself is obscure. Not a lot of gameplay footage is online. In recent times, the game has gotten a fan translation. What is interesting about the Japanese Special Edition OG Xbox console is that there's no other information about it other than this website I stumbled upon. It seems that this Japanese Xbox console in particular was a part of a prize championship contest that only 3 top champions can win this special edition console. I'm assuming it was related to Thousand Land because the console is themed after it. Contestants would have to play in an online multiplayer battle against other contestants and win the highest scores. It is unknown how many of these Thousand Land Special Edition consoles were made and who were the winners of the championship. It'll be very exciting to see one of these systems pop up somewhere, and I can only imagine how expensive they'll be because of their extreme rarity. Andrea Linux-based console. The Andrea L600 is an unreleased console by Andrea Entertainment Systems set for the release in the spring of 2001. The price of the console would have been $299, basically $300 with taxes, and it would have served as a multimedia center with the ability to play MP3s, VCDs, and CDs. 30 games were set to be available at launch. However, the console along with Andrea vanished in 2001. Andrea was founded in 1999 by John Garrett, who had previously worked at OpenSoft. Development on the Andrea L600 started very shortly after, intended to create a video game console based on PC hardware and Linux, similar to the Microsoft Xbox. If the console had been released, it would have been the only open source modern console to allow free software. A prototype of the system was showcased to the public at Linux World 2000, where it was demonstrated running Quake. Subscribers to Andrea mailing list received top 10 list of potential games for the system, which aimed to generate excitement for the console's release. However, the titles on this list remain unknown. The console was canceled on April 6, 2001 because it failed to raise $10 million needed for mass production, according to Andrea's founder, John Garrett. Andrea ceased operations on the same day as well. Are there any prototype units around? The only L600 is known to exist is the very one that was shown off at the Linux World 2000. However, it is unknown if it's still in the possession of Garrett or anyone else who worked at Andrea. My theory of why the Andrea L600 was cancelled is simple: the PS2. The PlayStation 2 was launched in March in 2000 in Japan, October in North America, and November in Europe. The sales of the console, games, and accessory pulled 250 million on the first day, beating the 97 million made on the first day of the Dreamcast. The PS2 had an incredible lineup of games. It was a cheap DVD player, and to this day, the PS2 is still the best-selling console of all time. There was no way in hell the Andrea L600 could compete with that. The poor Dreamcast couldn't stand a chance, and the GameCube barely held on. It was possible that John Garrett saw the success of the PlayStation 2 and the Andrea had no chance of making any profit, so they pulled out of the project. The Hyperscan Console. The Mattel Hyperscan Console was a video game console released on October 23, 2006. The system's unique feature was its reliance on collector cards that contained gameplay elements such as characters and settings. These elements were unlocked using a built-in RFID scanner on the console. The unit came packed with one game and a starter pack of cards, while additional games and starter card bundles were sold separately. Players could also buy remaining cards, typically several dozen for each game in a random pack of 6. This meant that players might end up spending hundreds of dollars to complete a single, very basic game, which can only be played on a poorly constructed and severely underpowered console. So basically, this was a super plug-and-play console. For those of you who may have missed out on the plug-and-play systems or just too young to know what they are, plug-and-play video game consoles are systems that were low-powered in terms of hardware specs, usually having the graphical capabilities of an NES or SNES. These systems were usually little, and a lot of times the console was the controller as well, like this SpongeBob plug-and-play. Plug-and-plays were also themed after popular franchises like Pac-Man, Nickelodeon, and Disney IPs. Unsurprisingly, neither gamers nor card collectors were impressed with the Hyperscan console, and the experiment lasted less than a year. Most of that time was spent on clearance shelves before it was quietly discontinued in 2007. Only 5 complete games were known to be released for the console, almost all of which were licensed properties. At the time of its cancellation, 2 additional games based on Nickelodeon IPs were in development but were never released. The cancelled games: Avatar: The Last Airbender, based on the animated series. There is currently no known information on the gameplay, but is said to have been finished or nearly so, just as the Hyperscan console was being discontinued. A booster card pack and another Air series have also been confirmed in line with the mechanics of other games. It is likely there would have been Water, Earth, and Fire series as well, with various element bending moves and skill levels unlocked using the cards. The only existing pieces of media for the game are boxes for the game and booster pack cards. It is rumored that some copies either leaked or made it to store shelves for a very limited time, but this has not been confirmed. Nick Extreme Sports was the last game announced for the Hyperscan console, featuring multiple popular Nickelodeon franchises. While it's not clear which franchises were included, SpongeBob SquarePants is known to be featured on the game's box art. Unfortunately, the game was scrapped in early development and no additional information is available. It was reportedly referred to as Nickelodeon Sports at one point, but there's no images or media related to this game except for one image. It's not clear if this image is real or a mock-up. The failure and the eventual end of the Hyperscan console led to these games being cancelled. Both games are completely lost and have not had any content resurface for years. It is unlikely that they'll reappear again soon due to the obscurity of their intended console and the unique challenges involved in emulating its hardware due to the whole scanner card thing gimmick. but I wouldn't completely throw it off the table, as stuff like the Verizon Wireless VCast phone service has been emulated to bring back the Kingdom Hearts VCast game. So it's very possible with enough demand and interest that someone would take the time and whip up an emulator. Thank you if you made it to the end of this video. I gladly appreciate it, and if you have any suggestions, thoughts, and additional information about these consoles or the games, feel free to share them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your insights, and don't forget to like the video if you found it interesting. Please consider subscribing for more content like this, and thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.